So this decoding is a 9 to 512 decoder with a pre-decode and post-decode stages. This is almost something like what we had done in the logical effort thing, that you know the final load. The final load is 800 femtofarads, and you have to use a mix of static NAND, dynamic NAND, or static NOR, dynamic NOR to arrive at a decoding. Okay. Uh, so this is making those. So static gates are full CMOS gates. Dynamic gates, as a quick intro, are gates which do not have a full PMOS circuitry in it. They have a they're largely made of NMOS circuitry. On the PMOS side, to avoid short circuit currents, you simply have a clock-based PMOS, which would turn off the VDD to output node. Okay. Sense amplifier. So sense amplifiers are of multiple types. Strong arm type sense amplifiers are used when you have two voltage levels to handle, and you may say that the currents are very less, but you want to still sense the difference between 0 and 1. Latch type sense amplifier is one of the most commonly used sense amplifiers. We will study much more about them in the memory design course, but we will touch them in this course. And then capacitive coupling sense amplifiers are also used. They have slightly larger area because the capacitance has to be made, but they can go down to very low voltages. Okay. Flip-flops or latches, you must have already heard the names. So reg means regular flip-flop. TSPC means true single-phase clock flip-flops. So in a regular flip-flop, you have clock and clock bar. Two signals are used to ensure that the race conditions are handled carefully or are managed nicely. In TSPC flops, you have only single phase of the clock. So since there is only single phase of the clock, you do not generate clock bar. The design is slightly different, a little complex, but there are other benefits that accrue out of it. Then the next two topics are on multi-bit regular flip-flop or multi-bit latch. So what happens is that, let us say there is a processor which has 32-bit bus linked to it. So if you want to latch the output of that particular output of the processor, or you want to write something onto the processor from that 32-bit bus, you definitely need 32 flops, okay, or 32 latches. Of late, there has been because routing and other congestion things have also increased. So to handle or to reduce the lot of congestion that can come with 32 flops placed next to each other on bus and everything, multi-bit latches and multi-bit flops have been introduced. Okay, so they reduce the burden on the clock, and they also reduce congestion. Okay, so that is for the multi-bit flops and latches. Now AOIs and OAIs. So these are AND OR invert and OR AND invert logics. So AOIs and OAIs are complex gates. When I say 2 to 1, then it means that there are that it has 5 inputs. When I use AOI 3, it means it has 6 inputs. So when you have multiple inputs at your disposal and you want to operate on them in a particular manner, you want to AND 2 inputs first, then OR, and then invert the output. For example, if we talk about AOI 2 to 2, so you do not really use a set of 3 AND gates and then a 3-input OR gate and then an inverter. You don't do it like that. You can be much more efficient if you use a complex gate, an AOI gate, and directly feed the 6 inputs into it and get the output. This is much faster, this is denser, and also consumes lesser power. So NAND gate वगैरह तो we've already designed and made. So in this next set of projects, you have to make those complex gates. Okay. The functionality of these complex gates, etc., is all available online. Now, how to make these gates? So one is domino or dynamic. You can say domino/dynamic. You can put it like that, where you use dynamic gates or dynamic logic to implement this gate. Static means full CMOS. It will be larger in area, would have more capacitance. Domino has its own challenges. And then PTL stands for pass transistor logic. So in this, so this is much denser. But the challenge is that for long paths, you really cannot use PTL. So we will cover all these three design styles in much more detail in the next few sessions. But yeah, so some of you will design in domino, someone else in static, someone else in PTL. And then if you, so I have also given you a guideline that you have to design as if you have a 12T cell height and so on. So if you design it in a way that is synchronized across all the three teams, then very easily one could publish nice papers. Okay, some of you can publish in one place, some others in another place. More of us can join hands together and publish in a much bigger venue and so on. Okay, so आप सब लोग अकेले, if I only talk about OAI 33 implementation in Domino, that will not be worth a publication. But when I compare OAI 33 Domino with static and with PTL implementation and compare their challenges, that is definitely worth a publication. Okay, if I mix AOI 33 and OAI 33, that again, it's much more a bigger volume of work and would be valued as a publication. So over here again, you can think of using double height cells. जो हमने class में discuss करा था, that using a double height cell allows us to use much bigger transistors, and so on. And towards the end, we have a adder. So in this, you do not really need to design the NAND. You do not need to make the layouts of NAND gates and AND gates and all that stuff. You simply design the adder, and then you implement it by using already existing gates in the library. Okay, so these two are those projects जहाँ पे आपको cell level पे मतलब बिल्कुल basic cell level पे design नहीं करना है, but you have to design at a slightly bigger module level. Okay, so does this help? This was a quick intro to the various topics that we have over there.
Okay, sir. So sir, all the topics will be discussed in the class later on in the course, right?
Yeah, everything will be covered in the course. Something will be covered in the next 2-3 weeks. Something will be covered over after 7-8 weeks. I'm also trying to arrange a guest lecture from ST Microelectronics where they can talk about flip-flops and metastability and stuff like that. So I will try to see that you guys are sufficiently equipped to handle any of these projects starting now. But you will have to do some homework. Each one of you, whichever project you choose, you will have to do some homework. It will not be that the project will simply come like that, because when we will not cover exactly the same topics in as much detail in the class, but we will discuss the broad level guidelines and top level things, and which you have that learning you have to implement in your project. So project is an application of whatever we discuss in the class. We cannot discuss 40 projects in the class, is it not?
Okay, sir.
Anything else? So from what I understand, you have to form your groups by 6 p.m. by 6 p.m. today, and then subsequently you have to opt for the project by 7 p.m. I think 7 p.m. Or no. 6 p.m. is the time that the project window will open. What did the classroom announcement say?
7 to 7:20 p.m. would be the project window opening time.
Okay, yeah, 7 to 7:20 p.m. is the project window, and then 7:45 p.m. is the Google Meet to kind of freeze if there is any confusion. Yeah, freeze if there is any confusion there. है ना? Okay, and resolve any conflicts there. Okay, so all the best, guys. So what is important is that if you whatever project you finally get to work on, you should quickly work to develop an understanding of the specifications. I have given a very broad level specification in that column. If you look at this in column E, I have given a very broad level specification. What would be very important is that आप अपने, for example, if you look at the adder and you get ripple carry adder or carry look ahead adder, or sense amplifier, or whatever project you finally take up. So one thing is, if you take up a complex project independently, just 2 or 3 of you will be able to publish a paper around it. Okay, if you take a simple project, it will be a paper which has 7, 8 authors, whatever. So that is the trade-off. You may, if you get a paper, that is your results have to be all good. Then in a complex project, the dependence is only on yourself, on your team. In things like AOI, OAIs, if you have to compare domino versus static versus PTL, you have to ensure that all 3 of your teams are completely well aligned, and not only are you well aligned, you are in sync with each other till the fag end, and you are able to make a composite paper out of it. Okay, so it requires much more coordination when you go for the relatively simpler projects. So it's more about where you have to put in the effort if you want to go forward with a publication or something like that. Okay, so I was saying that we will have our first project presentation in the first week of November. So it will be important that you guys discuss amongst yourselves and discuss with the TAs, check with me, and verify what are the exact specifications and what should be the verification plan for your project. Unless you have an end in mind, you will not be able to execute the project in a neat way. So that is the attempt, or the first presentation is simply just to kind of kickstart the project and have you get a handle on the complexity or get an idea of the complexity and get going. Otherwise, if I don't keep the first presentation, then my experience is that just 1 week before the project deadline, people start to work on the project and they do a terrible job. Neither do they learn anything, because all that they are doing is rushing through everything, so you don't learn anything. And jahan pe, these projects are reasonably complex, I would say, where you could actually think of a publication out of it. I have not been able to even give some students 5 out of 30 in the projects when they start work much later, because the overall quality goes bad. Okay, so that's where we have this first presentation in the first week of November, so that all of you start in the right earnest, and then each one of you should be able to contribute meaningfully to the project and learn from it. Okay, anything else about the projects?
So what's your opinion on our teamwork? Because since this semester is online, so there is some challenges which we feel. Means suppose मैं DRC बना रहा हूँ या मैं DRC कर रहा हूँ और अदर मेरा member वो DRC कैसे करेगा फिर अगर मैं वो चीज कर रहा हूँ तो फिर मतलब ऐसा कुछ.
So see, it is to be looked at it like this. अगर आप एक सेल पे DRC कर रहे हो तो आप चाहे यहाँ पे बैठे हो चाहे आप फिजिकली साथ बैठे होते, अगर आप 2 मशीन्स पे हो 2 बच्चे तो फिर भी DRC एक साथ नहीं कर सकते. Is it not?
सर बिल्कुल सर भाई, तो एक मशीन पे काम होना चाहिए ना तभी हो पाएगा.
So you have to be smart enough to distribute work amongst yourselves. One of you is working on the layout, another one is working on the characterization, another one is working on another aspect, making the report. So you have to distribute work amongst yourselves, or you have to distribute it in kind of time slots that, okay, is samay tak I am doing DRC, from this time to this time I will work on the characterization. So I know it's much more complex this way, but I think it can be much more synergistic this way, because what I've seen is that when all three of you are sitting on the same desk and doing something, yes, you are learning, but all three of you are doing exactly the same mistake, stuck in exactly the same stuff. Okay. Now, since you know that you cannot really all three work together on the same topic, either you share the same VNC and others are sitting on the other side and looking at your window, or you actually plan and organize your work in a meaningful way so that all of you learn different aspects, and then you time multiplex, you activity multiplex, so that each one of you learns all aspects of the project. So that possibility is much higher now, which was not there earlier. So see, we have to look at the silver lining. Neither you nor I can change the situation from what it is today. So we have to make the best of what it is that we have. And this is not just for this project. It is always in life. Always in life, life may throw anything at you. If it throws lemons, make a lemonade. If it throws apples, make apple juice. If it throws something else, see how to use best, make best use of that. So we have to be smart, and we have to utilize this as an opportunity, not as a limitation. Okay?
Okay, sir.
Anything else? So let's go to the class lecture then. Just give me a moment. Are you able to see my slides?
Yes, sir.
So आज बहुत कम स्टूडेंट्स हैं और जितने हैं वो भी कम बोल रहे हैं. Is there some challenge, some problem that I am not aware of? Except, yes, the fact that mid-semester break started today. Anything else that is bothering others, or something that I should be aware of and I'm not aware of?
Sir, I think most of the students are not aware that today was a class.
Why? We had discussed that in the class earlier also.
Maybe
Okay.
you should have posted on Classroom.
So the main reason for not people joining is that most of the people have got free from their exam like yesterday evening only at 5 p.m. or so. So उसके बाद like exams be like full
They're
on
relaxing. Okay.
I mean like the relaxing to नहीं. I mean like people have deadlines also like.
Yes, sir.
So
Assignments में busy है सब लोग.
So the thing is that it's not only that you have the exams, people have like courses have the mid-semester assignment also take home. तो उन take homes की deadline आजकल में है.
Okay, I get that. So ठीक है. If there is nothing so one thing that I realized is that I could have probably posted on Classroom that we have the class today, but I thought that mid-sem के लिए तो सबने lectures देखे ही होंगे, and then they know that we have a class today. But I might be wrong there. And then, as Vatsal also mentioned, that some of them might be working on the assignments. So, okay. So today we will start with power dissipation. So what kind of power components do we have in a circuit?
3 types of power component we can say: leakage power, static power, dynamic power.
So leakage और static में क्या फर्क है, मनोज?
Sir, dynamic power, leakage power, and short circuit.
Dynamic.
I just said wrong.
Sorry.
मैंने गलत कह दिया था.
Okay. Yeah. So essentially, we have dynamic power, which involves charging and discharging of capacitors. Short circuit current, which is the short circuit part that exists between the supply rails, and then leakage. So every device that you have, so not the resistors, not the capacitors, but all active devices, there are junctions, there are short circuit, there are subthreshold currents from the channel, from under the channel. So all those things leak. a quick refresh of the basics. When power is drawn from a voltage source, the instantaneous power can always be estimated as I into V. So how do we post energy then? So energy is overall power consumed over the given duration of time. And average power. So this is the first one over here is instantaneous power. At any given point of time, the current, the product of the current and the voltage at that time is the instantaneous power consumption. This is integrated over a time window 0 to capital T. That is the energy consumed in this particular time window. And average power over this time window would be presented like this. So this is nothing new. You already know this, but any questions around this? Okay. So in circuit elements, when we talk of voltage sources or current sources, again, power is given as I into V. So if it is a voltage source, voltage is constant, current is varying. If it's a current source, I would be constant, voltage would be varying. Okay. When it is a power consumed through a resistor, then you can do either V square by R or I square R. And the energy that you store in a capacitor is 1 by 2 CV square. Again, this is just a quick refresh of what all of you already know. Okay. In terms of overall power dissipation, we say that power is the sum of dynamic power and static power, where dynamic power is considered to be the sum of switching power and short circuit currents. Switching is switching of load capacitances, short circuit currents we already discussed. And static power is made up of various components, various leakage components. Okay, subthreshold leakage is the leakage that happens underneath the channel or in a transistor. Gate leakage is the leakage that would happen from the gate terminal into the substrate or into the source and drain. And junction leakage is the leakage of the source and drain junctions or any diodes that you have in your circuit. Okay. So in this section of power estimation, we will go through all these different aspects of power and how to estimate them. Okay. And let us, for a quick estimation, again, the attempt is to do back of the envelope calculations. Let us take an example where we say that there is a chip which has 1 billion transistors on it. Okay. So 1 billion transistors is not a very large number of transistors. Today you have chips which have 100 billion transistors on them. So 1 billion transistor would be a reasonably sized chip. Okay. And of this 1 billion transistors, there are 50 million logic transistors with an average width of 12 lambda and activity factor of 0.1. So we will see what activity factor means. And there are 950 million memory transistors, okay, whose average size is much smaller. So memories are much denser and whose activity factor is also much smaller because memories are structured elements. They are accessed, every element is accessed very infrequently. Okay. We're talking about, let us say, a 1 volt 65 nanometer process. And we also have some number that the capacitance of a gate is 1 femtofarad plus 0.8 femtofarad. Okay, so that is the capacitance that you see of a transistor anywhere. Okay. So now I want you to estimate what is the dynamic power consumption of this chip. How would you do that?
Alpha CV square F.
Yeah, alpha CV square F is fine, but how do you quickly estimate that? So let's see. let's see first, where does this alpha CV square F come from? Let's look at the dynamic power first. Okay. So one thing we know is that the energy stored in a capacitor is 1 by 2 CV square. Am I right? However,
Yes, sir.
the energy that we actually draw from the supply, if we simply go through this calculation, we see that the energy that we draw from the supply is CV square. So what has happened? Half of the energy is got lost. Where did it go? It got dissipated as heat. Heat kaise? So half of the energy I stored in the capacitor, remaining half we lost as heat. Where did this heat come from?
The leakage of charge or the current from the gate and all the leakage part basically.
Leakage is heat. Okay, anything else?
I mean, you have the hot electron effect.
नहीं उतना आगे तक मत जाओ. We're not going that far.
Okay.
Much simpler, much closer home. Why would there be heat at all? Yes, the resistance of the transistors. See, each transistor has its R on. Is it not? So
Yes, sir.
when any current flows through that, there would be some heat dissipated. And while we say that half the energy is stored, realize that half is also dissipated, wasted as heat. Okay. So it makes sense to have smaller capacitors then, so that half the overall energy lost is lesser. So if you just give input to an inverter and look at the output, you will and measure the currents from the PMOS and the NMOS. So this is some exercise that we had done already. You remember, we had made the load line and we had seen that what is the current going from the PMOS and coming from the NMOS and all that we had done. You remember that exercise that we had done when you were talking about delays and power dissipation? So this is just, you can check that through a simulation also. And this is exactly the same way, we are cancelling the current from the PMOS and the NMOS, and we are able to see the overall energy dissipated through waveforms also. So you can actually run a simulation and see all these waveforms for yourself, and you arrive at the fact that the overall power consumption is CV square. Now I have also added the factor F switching. What does this mean?
So maybe this means that amps per second, like go and my output is switching. So that means F times this CVD square will be happening since the capacitor will be charging and discharging.
Yes. What we are saying is that CV square is the energy consumed in one rise and fall. But the system may switch multiple times, and therefore we have to multiply it with F switching. Okay. So when we talk about F switching, we talk about what is called as an activity factor. So system clock frequency can be F, let us say, and F switching is alpha into F, where if the signal is a clock, then alpha is a 1, because then in every clock cycle there is there is a full positive edge and falling edge, so alpha is 1. However, if the signal is not a clock, then and the signal switches only rises or falls per cycle, then alpha would be half. Okay, so overall switching power can be estimated as alpha CV square F. Are you with me? Any questions still here?
Sir, वो alpha 1 और alpha half एक करवा दो.
So alpha means that I have I have so suppose there was no alpha. Suppose alpha was 1. What are we talking about? We are talking about the fact that इस तरह का, this kind of a transition happened and CV square energy was consumed. Am I right?
इसका मतलब तो ये हुआ एक क्लॉक पल्स में CV स्क्वायर एनर्जी कंज्यूम हो गई
So
कैपेसिटर
this
से।
is what we saw
अब
here.
अगर बहुत सारी
This is what we saw here, or let us say here. We saw that energy consumed is CV square in charging the capacitor, because when you discharge, you're not taking any additional power from here, but the C gets discharged. So in charging and discharging cycle, full CV square gets lost. Are you with me?
यस
Okay.
सर, यहाँ तक आया।
So alpha is equal to 1 means that just like in a clock, you charge a capacitor in this period and then you discharge it. So the entire energy CV square has been consumed in this transition. Alpha is equal to 1. However, typically other signals would transition only once. Some output will fall, another output will rise. So they will consume only half of CV square F. Clock consumes the full CV square, but other signals only see one transition. Therefore, alpha for them is half.
Sir,
Yes.
wouldn't actually be the energy loss will be only on the second transition, right? When the capacitor is discharging.
No.
Like when it is charging, there shouldn't be any energy loss from the capacitor.
वही तो हम
So
बात
will-
कर रहे थे, Rohit. That was what you were talking about. We said that when I charge this capacitor, I noticed that when I transition from 1 to 0, for example, I noticed that the overall power consumed was CV square. Okay, half of it was stored on the capacitor, the remaining half was dissipated as heat. In the other transition, there's nothing that is coming from the PMOS side, because the PMOS does not need to send anything. Only this capacitor gets discharged. And that half CV square is lost in the other transition. So each transition you lose half CV square.
Okay, so in the first transition, the half CV square is, I can say that it's lost due to the heat, and in the second transition, it is lost from the capacitor.
Again due to heat. First transition, heat in the PMOS, second transition, heat in the NMOS, that's it. But heat. And lost.
Okay. Yes.
Okay? Are you with me? See, this is one of the most fundamental concepts. You will be asked these kind of questions in your, or you will be asked reasonably complex questions, but if you understand this basic concept well, then you will be able to handle any kind of question in your interviews, anytime. Okay? So get the fundamentals clear. Then you can always use these basic principles to solve even complex questions when you face them in an interview or anytime. Okay?
सर मुझे क्रिस्टल क्लियर तो नहीं हुआ ये अल्फा इक्वल टू हाफ वाला पार्ट अभी भी, मतलब पता नहीं सर समझ में नहीं आया। पहला पार्ट एकदम क्लियर है मेरे को।
Alpha equal to 1 is fully clear. So when you had a rising transition and the falling transition, then you consume CV square. That is fine?
Yes, sir.
Is it fair to assume that whatever charge you, or is it fair to assume that if you lose half CV square in charging the capacitor and another half in discharging the capacitor, then for the clock also, half the power was consumed on the rising edge and half the power was used at the falling edge?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So now if
we are assuming it.
So now if there is only one edge, then only half the power will be consumed.
Yes, sir.
So if a signal has only one edge, only rises or only falls, only half the power is consumed, so alpha is half.
ठीक है सर, समझ में आ गया.
Okay.
Thank you, sir.
So in what cases would alpha be like kind of maybe 1/4 or 3/4 maybe, or is that a possibility? if we like kind of, or do we? I mean, like, is there any other value of alpha other than half or 1?
We will see. अभी देखो हमने जब when we defined the billion transistor chip, we said alpha is 0.02 for the memory transistors.
Exactly. So like, so we are
So
saying
we'll
that
see how that alpha will change.
Are we averaging out all the signals together to get a combined alpha kind of a thing? वो बहुत सारे switch हो रहे हैं एक ही side.
Yeah, we will just see.
Okay.
So can we say it's a probability of switching?
Yeah, you're leading me to the next slides. So good. We will just see this. It is about probability of switching.
Can we also say that alpha
Yes.
is 1 by number of clock cycles to dissipate the CV square?
Don't make it more complex. One clock cycle means alpha is 1. In a clock cycle, there is a rising transition and a falling transition. That's it. So you switch completely and you say alpha is 1. Okay. And so don't make it too complicated. It is simple. The more simply you understand these basic principles, the more easily you will be able to apply them in complex situations later. If you make it complex here, then to apply it in complex situations later will be very difficult. So keep it very, very simple, Abhi. Okay.
सर एक बेसिक डाउट है कि जब अल्फा 1 है,
excuse me sir, so
अल्फा 1 सर क्यों है? मतलब लाइक जैसे VDD से जो पावर जा रही है वो हाफ CV स्क्वायर मतलब कैपेसिटर को चार्ज करें, तो हमको तो उतना ही मतलब है ना सर, डिस्चार्जिंग का क्यों कंसिडर किया जा रहा है? मतलब डिस्चार्ज हो रही है तो उसका
जब अभी तो हमने देखा था ना, when you are charging a capacitor, the power consumed was CV square. Only half of it was stored on the capacitor. The remaining half we lost as heat.
Yes, sir.
So supply gave full power, CV square. That is where alpha is 1.
और अल्फा इक्वल्स टू हाफ में क्या है?
I'm sorry?
अल्फा इक्वल्स टू 1/2 में सर क्या है?
Okay, we saw that. Yeah, we saw that. When the supply gave CV square power, on the second transition, supply did not give any power, but whatever we had scavenged and stored somewhere, that was also lost. So we say that if a signal sees only one transition and not both the transitions, it is consuming half the power then. It is a way of estimating. Okay. In reality, you consume power from VDD only when you charge a capacitor. But you consume full power. But if whatever capacitor you charge, you will also discharge in some other cycle. So just for quick back of the envelope calculations, you are saying that when I'm charging a capacitor, I'm consuming half CV square. When I'm discharging the capacitor, I'm consuming another half CV square. Where are you consuming this? You're consuming this power as heat. So if you look at this alpha as a function of where is the heat going or how much is being wasted as heat, then you will be able to see that half is a good number to keep. However, if you try to look at it as how much power I consumed from the supply, then you will see that alpha will be 1 only for rising signals and will be 0 for falling signals. And then that will make your overall back of the envelope calculations very, very complex. So for the back of the envelope calculations, we say that half of the power is wasted in a rising edge, half of the power is wasted in the falling edge, and since clock has both the edges in every cycle, it consumes full power. For it, alpha is 1. For other signals which have only one edge, alpha is half. Does this help?
Yes, sir.
Rohit, you were also asking something?
Yes, sir. Can I say that like what we calculate right now, the power, it is for a particular resistance. Let's say the resistance of a unit inverter. But but if my if I design a circuit which has separate resistance, so there should be a proportionality with respect to resistance also, right?
So you look at it like this. Don't get confused with the resistance. I would say let us just keep it simple for now. Let us simply say that if I have to charge a capacitor C, then half of it is wasted in the resistor. If the resistance is small, current will increase. If the resistance is large, current will be small. But half the power will be wasted there. So resistor से मत compare करो. Okay. The size of the resistor will only change your delay. RC की तरह से delay में नजर आएगा. Don't mix power with this. Power को keep it simple. Understand it as power is switching power. This power. Switching power is charging a capacitor, discharging a capacitor. As much you store on the capacitor, as much you waste in the resistor elsewhere. Either through large resistance and small current, or through small resistance and large current. Whatever it is, as much you saved on the capacitor, that much you also wasted as heat. Keep it as simple. Okay?
Yes, sir.
Because jitni zyada cheezen, again, this is a very fundamental concept. Keep it as simple as possible. It will make it easier for you later. If you make it complex abhi, आगे जाके मुश्किल होगा फिर. Okay? So once we have this, so we park this term of alpha CV square F somewhere, and then we also say that, okay, when there is this input transition happening from 1 to 0 and out of 0, we know the circuit current. As a rule of thumb, we say this is less than 10% of the dynamic power. Okay. However, if your input slopes are very bad.
Sir, your voice has baked.
So what part was I not audible in?
From the starting of the slide.
So just this slide.
Okay.
As in from the start.
Okay. So for the short circuit current, we understand that during this transition period, okay, during this transition period of Vin, both NMOS and PMOS will be on, because Vin has gone below VT of the PMOS, and it is still higher than VT of the NMOS. So NMOS is also on and PMOS is also on. When both of them are on, there is going to be some current that will directly flow from the PMOS to the NMOS. This is your short circuit current. Am I right? Are you with me?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Okay. Now, if your input slopes are good, the duration for which these two transistors are going to be on simultaneously is going to be less. Typically, this would be less than 10% of total dynamic power. Okay. However, as you did in your assignment, if your input slope is very bad, you must have also observed that when your input slopes are very bad, the overall power consumption increases. Did you see that? Did you observe this thing in your assignment?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
So what happens is that the NMOS turns on at this point, PMOS turns off only here. Now there is a much longer duration for which both PMOS and NMOS are on. So the short circuit current starts to play a more significant role. Okay, that is where in bad slope conditions, your power consumption increases. That is where short circuit currents starts to play an important role in overall power consumption. Otherwise, short circuit currents are typically ignored if the inputs and output slopes are very good. Okay. So is it clear till here?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So now we come back to that example of 1 billion transistor chip. We say that we have 50 million transistors, each of a width, say 12 lambda. Lambda, for per lambda, I say that there is a micron width of 0.025 microns. Okay. And I came to know that each transistor adds a capacitor of 1.8 femtofarads per micron. Similarly, for the memory, I say that there were 950 million transistors, each of an average width of 4 lambda. Again, this formula remains same, this formula remains same. I see that overall capacitance is 27 nanofarads and 171 nanofarads. But alpha is different for logic and it is different for memory. So just with this, I have no other information about the chip. I have no information about the stimuli that I am going to give to the chip. I just have the information about alpha and the average size and the number of transistors. And I am able to estimate that overall dynamic power would be of the order of 6.1 watts. Are you able to see the simplicity of this method?
Sir, basically 12 lambda is just like the length only, na? Like we do 2 lambda in case of inverter.
Yeah, it is the width. Yeah, it is the width, you may say. The lambda is the width of a average logic transistor. So lambda, this is an example from a 0.025 micron technology, and that is how you go. Okay. आगे बढ़े.
सर एक बार ये 0.1 और ये कोफिशिएंट से एक बार बताना.
This is the activity factor. This is the activity factor that we have kept in the
alpha. Okay.
Yeah.
So
okay.
ये हम सर ऐसे ही assume कर रहे हैं कि अभी ये होगा इसके लिए.
This was given to us.
Okay.
Is it not? This was given to us. This is what the customer told us, that I will activate your signals like this. Yes. Someone else also had a question. Yes, Swapnil.
So we were calculating the C logic. We had these 0.025 and 1.8 as the C gate and the C diffusion given. Just for asking, like, why are we multiplying these two values with the total transistor numbers? Like, just for, like, mathematically, I'm just asking, like, why is it happening over here? Like,
so that is the capacitance per micron.
Hai
na? And there are these many transistors. So I'm getting the total logic capacitance there, which would toggle.
I didn't see the units properly. Sorry, sir.
Okay.
Yeah, I didn't see the units properly.
Yeah.
Sir.
Yes, Priya.
सर शॉर्ट सर्किट में आपने बताया था कि जब दोनों मॉस ऑन होंगे तो उसमें दोनों से करंट पास हो रहा होगा. सर स्विचिंग में हम ये बोलेंगे कि जो इन्वर्टर का जो जहाँ पे सब थ्रेशोल्ड स्विचिंग होती है VDD/2 पे, तो उस केस को हम स्विचिंग पावर में कंसीडर करेंगे या ये कुछ और चीज है?
Switching power is the power consumed in charging and discharging your capacitors.
तो जो हम पहले डिस्कस कर रहे थे वही वाली चीज की हीटिंग वाला.
Switching power is just that. The power that is lost as heat.
Okay.
You lose half the power in charging, remaining half in discharging.
Okay.
Okay. So going forward, how do we reduce dynamic power? See, we know that power is alpha CV square F. So what can you do? You minimize
alpha कम से कम हो जाए. Alpha minimize हो जाए.
You minimize alpha, you minimize capacitance, you minimize voltage of operation. If you minimize voltage of operation, you will have a square effect, so positive effect. And you reduce the frequency. You reduce any one of these and you will see that overall power would reduce. Am I right? So now how do we reduce each of these components? So first, let's look at alpha. Let's say that probability Pi is the probability that a node is 1. Okay. And alpha is said to be, so this is P bar. So the probability that the node is 0 is 1 minus Pi. Okay. So alpha I is Pi into Pi bar. So for a completely random data, P is 0.5 and alpha would be 0.25. Okay. Now data is not always fully random. For example, in a 64-bit word, bank account balances or whatever, you'd have more zeros in some places, upper bits, MSBs. If you're counting something, then for a very large count, MSB would remain 0. So data is not always random, and therefore, and data also transitions, propagates through various AND gates and OR gates. And by the very nature of AND gate and OR gate, they don't toggle at every input or every input change. AND gate would toggle or go to 0 only when both are 1. For other 3 cases, it will remain at 1. The output will remain at 1. So overall, transitions are lesser than 1 per cycle. Therefore, activity factor is typically lower than 0.25 also. Okay. Let us look at the example of switching probability in different gates.
सर वो नोड, सॉरी टू डिस्टर्ब यू सर, वो नोड जो आपने बताया i इक्वल टू 1, सो सर वो एग्जैक्टली अपना नोड कौन सा वाला आप बताना चाह रहे हैं? मतलब इन्वर्टर का मैं डायग्राम जैसा अज्यूम कर रहा हूं,
आउटपुट ऑफ अ कैपेसिटर और द कैपेसिटर, फॉर एग्जांपल अगर आप इस स्लाइड में ही देखें, यहाँ पे हम प्रोबेबिलिटी ऑफ y निकाल रहे हैं. व्हाट इज द प्रोबेबिलिटी ऑफ y इज 1. What is the probability of y being 1? In an AND 2, it is the probability that PA
1/4.
1/4, है ना? What is the probability of it being 1 in AND 3? So PA into PB into PC, and so on. है ना? So for every gate, you can estimate what is the switching probability through this manner, and you then are able to translate this switching probability across gates. Just look at this example. If I ask you to estimate the activity factor at each node if probability of all inputs is 0.5, what would be the probability of switching at the first set of outputs at N1 and N2, let us say?
Half or alpha 1/4.
So probability of output being 1 in this particular NAND gate is 3/4. NAND gate का output 1 होने की probability is 3/4.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
So alpha over here, the probability of switching over here would be P into P bar, which is 3/4 into 1/4, which is 3/16. Are you with me?
So
Yes, sir.
So what does P equal to 0.5 over here indicates for each of the inputs being 0.5? How would it influence our result?
So we will just see. How does the probability? अभी आपने क्या assume करा? आपने assume करा कि A and B are both equally probable to be 0 and 1. Am I right? That is how you came to the probability of 3/4. Is it not?
अच्छा ठीक है. फिर वहाँ पे वो bias आ जाएगा and.
Yeah. So let us see in the next gate. What will be the probability of output of at y being 1?
Okay.
Tell me. What is the probability of y being 1?
1/4.
1/4 into 3/4.
Are you sure? See, for y to be 1, you need n1 to be 0 and n2 also to be 0. For y to be 1,
1/16.
1/16, and alpha is 15/256. Are you able to see this? So you see, आपके दो NAND gates या दो AND gates के through कुछ गुजरा, and the overall activity factor has gone to less than 1/10. And in reality, your critical paths have long chains of AND and OR gates. Are you with me? Are you able to see the impact of input probability on the probability of output switching? Hello?
So 1/16 basically is that from the first set A and B, you have 1/4 key probability, and from the second set C by D, you have 1/4. So 1/4 into 1/4, that was only the single probability which you had of both the inputs being 0 together.
Yeah. है ना?
अच्छा हाँ NAND gate है, sorry. AND gate देख रहा हूँ.
So any questions still here?
Sir, like when we are calculating the P into P bar, so is this like a conditional probability, as in my previous input was 1 and the next input is 0? And since these are independent events, so we are directly multiplying them.
Yes.
Okay.
That is when switching will happen. Otherwise, switching will not happen.
Yes, yes. I was just understanding why it is P into P bar. So.
Yeah. Otherwise, switching will not happen, no? ठीक है? So,
sir, in this case, probability can't be 15/16 because in the similar way, like probability we have written 3/4 na, for the probability to we get 1. So in the input of N1 and N2, we are having probability 1/4, 1/4. So I just understood that the overall probability will be 1/16, but in order to get 1 as our output, so it should not be 1 minus 1/16.
So that was what I asked you. When will the output Y be 1? When N1 is 0 and when N2 is 0?
Yes, sir.
What is the probability of getting N1 as 0?
Okay, understood. For getting N1 for 1, it was 3/4. So getting 0, it is 1/4.
Yeah.
Okay, sir. Sure.
Okay. Anything else? Okay, so let's move forward. So, so this was one way of seeing that if you use AND gates and NAND gates, you are able to reduce alpha very quickly. Now, clock activity is alpha equal to 1. If I can somehow put an AND gate on the clock, then I can save a lot of power. So clock gating is very commonly used. For example, in places where I know that I'm not going to use an adder. For example, I'm just watching a movie. All that I'm doing is streaming something. I'm not doing any mathematical calculations. So your entire ALU need not get the clock. The entire ALU can simply have clock gated, and I would save power in the processor. Okay. So when you gate the clock is also not going, and therefore you save power. So you at once, instead of alpha equal to 1, you make alpha equal to 0 for that duration, and you reduce the overall average alpha for even clock signal. Okay. How to reduce capacitance? So we saw this. We saw that if I use lots of stages, my device sizes go very big, and therefore when I have an output capacitance which is very huge, for example, in the first project that we have defined, we are saying that the output capacitance is 800 femtofarads. So in such cases, we also saw that it doesn't really matter to have the final drivers to be that huge, and in fact we can have a stage effort which is much larger when the output capacitance is much larger. So what that does is that reduces the number of stages, reduces area, and with small gate sizes, lesser area, you have smaller wires, so wire capacitance also reduces. So many things happen. So while we saw that the delays are within 15% of the minimum delay for a range of 2.4 to something like 6, we also discussed that for very large load circuits like SRAMs, you keep the stage effort as 10. You know? So when you keep very large stage efforts, you actually also gain in terms of dynamic power. You lose a little bit in terms of delay, I agree, but you gain in terms of significantly in terms of area and also in terms of dynamic power. Okay. Any questions still here?
So
yes.
So while you were discussing how do we reduce the clock का वो activity factor वाला thing. So that would only happen like when you are actually not switching something at the clock signal, right? And like, but if I have a kind of a circuit or something, like most of the time you will have some kind of an example where your input, suppose A and B, is switching at the clock. So like kind of, can you give a short example जहाँ पे clock getting actually होती हो, so that I can relate
यही
to
तो
it
दिया
practically?
था. That was an example I gave. In a processor,
अच्छा,
suppose I'm streaming a movie.
हाँ,
All that I'm doing is transmitting one set of data from one place to another, for example. In that case, I'm not using the ALU at all. So while the processor has a clock running at the full 2.5 gigahertz frequency, ALU is not being used, and I can gate the clock going to the ALU.
okay, I get it.
Okay.
Yeah.
So in fact, that is, so this is very commonly done across modern SoCs. Huge chunks of the chip will not receive the clock also. And this also is a problem in testing, because what happens is that itna complex clock gating structure network ban jata hai, that at times when you're testing the chip, some parts of the chip are never activated. When they're not activated, you cannot even test them. So you have to write very complex patterns to test them. Okay.
तो क्लॉक गेटिंग करने से आपका स्टैटिक पावर पे फर्क नहीं पड़ेगा, बिकॉज आप अगर फ्रीक्वेंसी डिवाइडर सर्किट से क्लॉक बना भी रहे हो एंड काइंड ऑफ आप उसको क्लॉक गेट करके 0 या 1 पे एक लॉजिक से सेट कर देते हो, उसका स्विच नहीं करते, तो स्टैटिक पावर पे कोई फर्क नहीं पड़ेगा, लाइक एज इन इंक्रीज नहीं होगी स्टैटिक पावर इन दिस केस?
क्यों? स्टैटिक पावर तो हमेशा ही कंज्यूम हो रही है ना, चाहे 0 है चाहे 1 है. 0 के समय when the input is 0, then NMOS is leaking. When the input is 1, PMOS is leaking.
हाँ.
Static power doesn't change.
Okay.
है ना?
Yeah, makes sense. ठीक है.
ठीक है. So another, we also said that we should reduce voltage and frequency, and for this, what is very commonly done is what is called as dynamic voltage and frequency scaling, DVFS, dynamic voltage and frequency scaling. So initially what you do is you simply scale the frequency as you want to use the process, as the load on your processor. I'm just taking the example of a processor, of the processor that each one of you has, whether in your laptop or in your cell phone. So as the load on the processor reduces, you can reduce the frequency of operation. So because the load is less, even at lesser frequency, it will give you the right throughput. The user experience will not be impacted. Am I right? So you reduce the frequency first. So this is called as dynamic frequency scaling, which happens based on the load. Now suppose you started from 2.5 gigahertz, you went down to 1 gigahertz. Now as a circuit designer, you've already seen that as you lower the voltage, the delays increase. Or to put it differently, if you want better frequencies, you have to operate at higher voltage, but for lower frequencies, you can operate at lower voltages. Are you with me on this? You've already seen through various simulations that as you reduce the voltage of operation, the delays would reduce, the delays would increase, the frequency would reduce. Am I right?
Yes, sir.
So what I say is that, okay, now the load is such that I just need to operate at 1 gigahertz. Why not also reduce the voltage? Because as soon as I reduce the voltage, I will have a gain of V square. I will have much more gains than only reducing frequency. So this is called as dynamic voltage and frequency scaling, which happens depending on workload on a processor. As the workload increases, you again raise the frequency, you again raise the voltage and then increase the frequency, and you are able to get the same throughput. But when the workload is less, you can significantly reduce dynamic power consumption. Almost every advanced SoC today uses DVFS. Okay, so it is also called as DVFS. Early on, processors would only use DFS, but now almost every advanced processor has DVFS on it. Okay?
Sir, can you re-explain why by reducing frequency we are reducing voltage?
So you saw in your experiments that as you lower the voltage, the frequency reduces. Or in other words, to operate at high frequency, you need to operate at high voltage. This much you saw. Hello? Are you with me?
Sir, I didn't notice it.
So आपने जब अलग-अलग वोल्टेजेस पे अपने डिलेस को कैरेक्टराइज करा, तो आपने ये नहीं देखा कि डिलेस बढ़ गए एट लो वोल्टेजेस.
ओके, हाँ देख रहे हैं. तो उसको हम फ्रीक्वेंसी से डिनोट कर रहे हैं, डिले को 1 बाय.
So if delay has increased, the frequency would go down, na? What is frequency? Frequency is 1 over time. If time has increased, frequency would reduce.
Okay.
So what we saw is, what we've already seen is that to increase the frequency, I have to raise the voltage of operation. Am I right?
Yes, sir.
So if my frequency is less, I can as well lower the voltage and still operate my circuit. I increase voltage just because I needed high frequency. When I don't need high frequency, I can lower the voltage also. Hello?
Yes, sir.
So that is where when you reduce the frequency, you also reduce the voltage and you call it as DVFS. Okay?
Sir?
Yes?
Sir, but is it a trade-off because हम डिले भी तो बढ़ा रहे हैं तो उसकी वजह से भी कुछ ना कुछ इम्पैक्ट आएगा.
हाँ, तो डिले बढ़ा रहे हैं तभी तो आपने फ्रीक्वेंसी लो कर दी. आप शॉर्ट सर्किट पावर की बात कर रहे हो कि शॉर्ट सर्किट पावर बढ़ेगी.
हाँ सर, मतलब सर्किट पे कुछ ना कुछ इम्पैक्ट तो होगा डिले बढ़ने से.
हाँ, डिलेज बढ़ेंगे. यस यस यस, डिलेज बढ़ेंगे तो आपके राइज टाइम फॉल टाइम बढ़ेंगे, आपकी शॉर्ट सर्किट पावर बढ़ जाएगी. यस, बढ़ेगी, लेकिन आपकी जो डायनेमिक पावर विच इज द मेजर कंपोनेंट दैट वुड रिड्यूस.
ओके सर.
ओके.
Yes sir, thank you.
Yeah. So DVFS, yes.
So few slides back we noticed that, like we saw in the assignment also, like making the input and the outputs look bad in a way. The switching power would actually dominate over the dynamic power.
Not dominate. It increases. Short circuit power increases. It does not dominate. It becomes it can no longer be ignored. That was what we said.
That's
we never said it
dominates.
dominates.
The net effect will be reducing only, like reducing
yes.
the frequency.
Yes. So what happens is, as you reduce the voltage of operation, you see that your dynamic power would reduce. However, after some time, you see it starts to increase.
Yeah.
This is your device VT. So the sweetest point to operate is a few, just 100 millivolts above VT. Because that is where the short circuit power has not increased as much, but your dynamic power has reduced. Switching power has reduced. So the power is continuously reducing. As you grow closer to VT, your leakage, the short circuit currents increase significantly, and therefore you tend to lose the advantage of energy conservation. Okay? Okay?
Yeah. So, but in a way, like, just sorry, I'm stretching this too much.
Please.
Yeah. So actually, like we were seeing earlier also, like as we move from 180 to 65 to 5 or 7 only, so like we were automatically, we had that advantage of reducing the VDD also. ना हम लोग साथ-साथ VDD भी कम करते ही गए. So
yeah, but after 65 VDD has not reduced at all.
Oh, is it? Oh.
So even in 22 nanometer, so 65 के बाद आप आए 45 पे. 65 you were at 1.2, 45 you were at 1.15. Okay. Then 32 1.1, 22 1.0.
Okay, the
Then you
effect
came
was
to FinFETs. Then you came to FinFETs. You were able to reduce it to something like 0.8, and then you are at 0.8 even in 14 FinFET. So because VT is not changing now, VT is not reducing.
Oh yes.
If you reduce the VT too much, the leakage would go bonkers.
हाँ ठीक है.
Okay. So DVFS is very commonly used in all the advanced SOCs today. And we will close the lecture here. It's almost time. As a quick refresh, dynamic power consumption is a mix of switching power and short circuit power. And to reduce switching power, you can reduce each of these components, alpha, capacitances, and you can use dynamic voltage and frequency scaling. And all this goes on the tenet that to reduce short circuit power, use good transition slopes. Okay. So now we will meet next week, and that is when we will start to talk about static power. And then after that, from the lecture afterwards, we will start to talk about combinational logic design. Okay. So thank you guys. All the best, and enjoy your holidays.
Sir, I have
Yes.
a general question.
Yes, Anuj.
Sir, tomorrow is Wednesday, so we will be having a quiz or not? I am just confirming.
So you want a quiz or not?
No, sir, I just wanted to confirm whether we will be having or not.
No, I was not planning on one.
Okay, sir. Okay. Thank you.
And sir, we won't be having classes on Friday too, right?
I'm sorry?
We won't be having classes on class on Friday, right?
Yeah, we agreed this already. We agreed that we will have class only on 20th, not on Friday.
Okay, sir.
Sir, will we have the office hours as usual, or is it also?
So आप लोग छुट्टी ले रहे थे तो मैं भी सोचा मैं भी ले लूं. I can.
Sure.
But if you want office hours, I can be there.
No, sir. Are the TAs available, or they are also on leave?
So again, the TAs are definitely available till tonight, and they will be checking your papers in the next few days. So if you want office hours, we can maintain the office hours. That is not a problem.
No, sir. It's okay, sir. It's fine.
Hmm?
It's fine, sir. You can also take a break.
Okay.
Sir?
Yes, Sapna?
So just as a request, maybe if this could be considered, I was just thinking कि आपने थोड़ा project का overview भी दिया. There are kind of lot of projects to search upon. मैंने पहले थोड़े search करे थे, but there are now SRAM decoder which I'm quite interested. पहले मैं AOI सोचा था, अब SRAM का मन कर रहा है. So थोड़ा confusion सा हो रहा है. In a way, I wanted actually to choose the best topic which suits me. So थोड़ा deadline ऐसा लगा था short है. Anyways we are not starting tomorrow. I guess अभी तो नहीं करेगा कोई भी. तो if maybe tomorrow तक आप कर सको time दे दो तो that would be better. I mean
Okay,
1 or 2 days.
Yeah, we can do the project selection tomorrow. I can ask the TAs to shift it to tomorrow.
Sir,
the window to
in the evening we have our demo.
I'm sorry?
Sir, tomorrow in the evening we have a demo of OPD.
शाम को 7 बजे?
हाँ सर.
अच्छा.
तो परसों रख लो.
परसों रख लो, मेरा क्या है? See, I don't lose anything. You guys lose something by having lesser time to prepare for the project. But ठीक है, परसों morning रख लेते हैं. Morning, Thursday morning 10 a.m. 10:30 a.m. Thursday morning.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
थोड़ा time मिल जाएगा सर सोचने के लिए project के लिए.
Yeah. Make your groups comfortably and discuss amongst yourself and then select the project. Okay?
Yes, sir. Maybe you could please let the TAs know कि वो परसों का.
Yeah, I think one of them must already be here in this class already, but I will also tell them. Don't worry.
Sir, none of the TAs are there today.
None of the TAs are there today? Okay. I will tell them. Don't worry.
Yeah. Okay.
I thought Mukesh was there, but ठीक है, कोई problem नहीं है. We have Synopsys coming on campus today, so someone might have, they might not have come. Yeah. Okay.
Sir, आज की assignment में CIR फाइल भी देनी थी क्या?
हाँ.
Okay.
Sir?
Yes, Garvit?
Sir, I thought like that today's class was not final, so I didn't really attend that. So like in future, if will it be possible to like put a reminder if we
Yeah,
have it?
we discussed that in the beginning of the class. That we agreed.
Yeah, but I thought that like since any notification didn't came, so it's not like final or something. It has been postponed, so that's why I didn't attend today's class. Like I asked my few of my friends too, and they said the same also. So will it be possible to like in general if we put if we schedule a class off schedule, then
We can do that.
reminder or something?
Yes, yes, we can do that. We can do that.
Thank you, sir.
We can do that. Okay.
Thank you, sir.
So all the best, guys. I'm stopping the recording.